It is pouring outside, so I thought it was a good day to hide down here and work on this stuff. Got that patch panel in. Looks like crap, needs a lot of work. So this corner, I had to get in there, needs some trimming. Then I got to get inside the door and figure out how I'm going to secure all that. There's a lot of rust to cut out. I think I'm going to go ahead and just tack weld it there, and then I'm going to build a substructure on the outside over here somewhere to stiffen that all up. So a lot of work to do there still. Figuring out that still as well. But trying to cut the front fenders where I want them. This fender here on top is all figured out. Now I'm just trying to line up the other side so I get the same cut. And I tried to do it on the vehicle, but not having it perfectly lined up. The axle is sitting in there a little bit crooked. It looks like the drinker side is forward just a little bit, maybe half inch or so, three-quarters of an inch. So it's throwing the fender cuts off if I try to measure it off of that. So I'm going to try using the other fender for a template and see how bad I can destroy that. As far as the door as well, bodywork was, I got to do some hammer work on it. It's pretty smooth through here. It's got a little bit of a low spot. But down here it's got a pretty good low spot. So I'm probably going to pull off the whole thing and trying to hammer some of that out and get it smoother before we start coating the door. And as far as finishing out the fenders and stuff, I think I'm going to try some 1/4 inch brake line and just bend it in along the cut fender. Just lay it right inside and weld it. Give it a little extra stiffness. And then I have to fab up a back body mount that goes like right down here. It bolts into the lower area for that little tab right there, in that hole. So I'll have to figure out something for that. But yeah, come along. I'm worried about the other passenger door because it's weird. The other door I got fit great, but none of this fit up here. It was really, really bad. So I had to cut up the factory door. So I'm getting another door and hope I can reuse it because where's it at? Thought I had the other door in here somewhere. The problem with it, oh, here it is it just is Swiss cheese. So I'm going to be rebuilding all this anyway back here. I don't want to have to rebuild all the inner structure as well. I'd rather cut the donor metal off the outside of this one and not worry about this whole inner structure, because the more I touch it, the more it just crumbles and falls apart. She's rusty crusty. So yeah, hopefully the door that comes in is in better shape than that mess. It looks just like this one. It's probably out of the same vehicle, I bet. But hopefully I can use it instead of using this one, because junk. I don't want to. I don't like doing rust repair. The front door, kind of the same deal. It's coming apart on me. Not sure how deep I'm going to get into that one, but guess we'll see. This has turned into a work table for me. Don't do that. All right, back at it. So I wasn't too far off. I ended up using holes from the existing body fixtures. There was like a vent right there, and then marker lights up here. Put a couple of screwdrivers through them to kind of hold them in place. And I was a little off on this mark, a little bit low, and the other one was in there I was a little bit high on, so glad I decided to do this. Got a pretty good mark going now, so we know pretty close where I'm at and keep them both the same. There is a little bit of this body edge that shows, but I was able to put a hammer on that and kind of round it out and make it look like it's part of the flare. Can't even tell from the inside. You can see it a little bit right there, maybe. But yeah, looking pretty good. I've been working on the body work a little bit. I got these two dents gone. Sanded down pretty good. Just ready for a good thick coat of high build out the spray gun. Still working on what I'm going to do here. I'm not okay with leaving that loose edge. It It's pretty sharp. I don't know. I want to finish it somehow. So I got this stuff to finish it. Just some 1/4-inch tube from McMaster car. It's a little harder to bend than I wanted, so I wanted something thick for welding. So it's about the same gauge as the body panel is, but kind of hard to manipulate. So I don't know if I'm going to tack it in and then try to heat it up along the way and mold it in there and hope I don't heat up the fender too much to warp it. Because I'd hate to have to redo all this because this thing's pretty straight still and now the top's perfect. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I got 40 feet of this stuff though, so I don't know what I'll do with it if I don't do that. And then got this fender just about done too. Got one little low spot here still. Need to add a little bit more icing in there. And then this one will be ready for a good coat too, and whatever I decide to do down there. And then we got to figure out this other back door. This one's the one that's rusted up pretty bad. Thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here all the way across. And I'm going to use a section out of this other front door I'm not using. Right out of the middle of it where everything's pretty good still. And hopefully have the bottom of the door piece. Oh man, this thing's pretty rusty too. I think it's pretty good right here. So I should be able to get everything I need out of that section. And cut out all the way up into here. Add all that back into that other door. And get it extended like this one. Which we also need to work on because this looks like crap right now. I got some welding to do still, and I want to build a structure from here too around to stiffen this up. Which I also don't know what I'm going to use. I'll probably go with that round rod again. Not really rod, tubing. And see how that works. But again, I got to figure out how to manipulate it better over these parts. So that's where we're at. I'm going to keep sanding. I've been working on this door. I cut up the front door because it was pretty much junk. I got a good one on there anyway. And it is just nothing. So I cut a big chunk out of it to work this back door. And I messed up a little bit here with the cut. I'll fill that in slowly but surely. This one I got a lot better. A lot flatter than the other door. The other one's going to need a lot more repair. This one here I got to relieve this cut a little bit so I can pull this up and get it flat. That one's got the last coat on it. Not focusing. There we go. Not the last coat, but the one to make it somewhat smooth. I got a sander on the way for that, an inline sander, make it a little bit easier to do that big area. And I got one little spot I finished on the fender over here. I wasn't happy with how it looked. But I have to do a little bit more sanding right there. Oh, that stuff isn't solidifying. Don't like it. They won't be fun to sand. So yeah, we're coming along though. Still lots of work to do. Still got to build the whole inner structure on this like I did with the inside of this. I put some ground rod or tubing all the way across it and built it. I think I'm going to do the next one different though. It's hard to bend, so I was using the torch to heat it up and bend it, and I got a little wave in here. That's what this filler is here. It looks thicker than it is. It's really just a skim coat. But I think I went ahead and ordered a tubing roller for over here so I can try and roll that in. Oh man, I messed up there. You can push that down some more. Get that off a little bit. Oops. I'll have to fix that. Feels like it's good right in here though, so I'll have to just come back into here and cut this out and push that corner down again. Rookie! I'm a rookie. Remember that. This is all feeling pretty good though. I also learned instead of doing this big cut across the door, I took it down and put it on this seam, because that corner will be a lot stronger and hold it from warping with heat a lot more. So that seems to be working as well. And I took out a lot more of the bottom of this door because this door was pretty screwed. I got some rust right here. Not sure how I'm going to patch that all up. don't know if I grind that all out and put a patch panel in there or cover it. I'm not sure. This thing I'll never really see outdoors anyway, as far as like sitting out in the snow or salty roads. It's going to go to Colorado most likely and be just used when we go out there. So, all right, that's where we're at right now. Still a mess. Harbor Freight one. I can convince trees to bear fruit. Same air. Got it on the air right now. Hooked up. Back to working on a couple of projects today. Why are you following me? I want to work on that soon and do a spray and bed liner and a roll bar and some stuff, but I'm going to do the body work still. This is one of the future projects. We're going to make this four-wheel drive. It's a 97 with a 7.3 in it and has 30,000 miles on it, so it's pretty nice. I'll be doing that soon. I hope anyway. I don't know when exactly. Probably. Who knows? I don't even know why I'm speculating. This thing, I got some fender covers to go on the back to fix my boo-boo. That, and I jumped it the other day and put the front, you can see it under there, I put the front truss into the oil pan. I didn't know that did clearance until I put it over the hood pretty hard. So we'll have to put some bump stops in that. So we got a couple things in this going too. But back to the Land Cruiser. We are still working the body on this thing. I'm being a little picky. I can't get them exactly flat the way I wanted. This door is working out way better than the other one with the way I cut this one. Put some stuff down here. This door I cut along this seam here. And that kept it a lot more rigid. Whereas this one, I went way up. Straight through this area. I really got some warpage on the door here. So definitely did a better job on that one. But it is what it is. We're going to keep sanding away on it. I got some extra little spots I did here. Then the stuff got a little stiff on me. So it looks like crap. I'm going to file that down and sand it off. And keep working this hunk of crap. Try to make something out of nothing. After that, it will be on to making some 1/4-inch tube edges for in here. I got a tube roller off of the Jungle website. Don't look at my workbench, it's a mess. So you can just adjust it down on there for how big of a curve you want and roll it through. Hopefully I'll be able to make this from here to wherever it's going to meet, probably right here I guess. And then make up the last parts. I got to trim the side still. It's still not right. This one over here, pretty sure is good. So it'll kind of help round out this through here. This is a patch panel I put in that looks like crap as well. I need to hammer that around a little bit. And then these are going to get trimmed off all the way down and around. So the door seal will still sit against this. When you open the door, it'll have that open area there, which I don't really care about. Maybe I'll patch it someday, maybe I won't. And then after that, it's going to be figuring all this out. Still don't know what I'm going to do there. Not sure. I have not finished the video that I was making for a while now because, well, it's nothing but a sheet of ice here. And I haven't been able to get down to my shop for about, I don't know, 3 weeks. This was just a layer of ice. And I hate these glasses. They tint automatically. But we got the doors pretty much ready to go for one last little hoorah of, damn it, of primer filler, whatever you want to call it, high build primer. That one's ready to go as well. So those two are kind of done. I started messing around on this door here. I'm trying to turn the camera around if I can. It is going to need some help too. Having some issues here, so I'm going to have to rebuild everything from here over, I believe.
and have to patch it in from this side. We got a pretty good chunk coming out all the way up into here to try and stop the rust. It clears up pretty good right here, but I might take some more of that out too. We also started messing around with the tailgate because it's got some rust budding in there too. It's pretty soft right through here. And then we also got some Moto built inner fenders that are for a Jeep Wrangler that I'm going to cut down and modify to go in here. And they should, this is the height, they'll go perfectly over the top of the shocks, and they have a flat spot on top. They're all pretty heavy. And that's the side. This is the front because it'll cut down right down into here pretty perfectly. Like that. That ought to work pretty good to cover everything, and we'll leave room. This relief right here will be pretty good for the seat. And then they have a heavy metal top. And I think today I might start messing around with those because I don't want to do body work because I'm over it. My shop's a flipping mess, and I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. All right, kind of got this thing set up in here. Looks like we're gonna have to do the top at about 8.5 inches. Is what we'll trim the top down to, and the top is probably a foot or so. So I'll get a good line going on this and trim a pretty good amount on it, and then we also have to cut it down in length as well. I'll get the plasma out for that. Right there. Need to find a long straight edge though. I'm not good at freehand, so we can get that all set up. I wish I had a sheet metal brake because I'd leave it a little long and then give it a brake back up this way, but I don't have one, so would be nice. Maybe I'll weld some tabs in though and come down to here and put some nut certs in at these to bolt that fender in from the inside, possibly. And I'll be getting rid of some of the stuff inside of here for clearance issues and stuff. And then we'll cut these down lengthwise to about there on both sides, right along that one support. And then we'll put the factory panel back in here. We'll trim it down. Not gonna be able to have the 6x9s in the holes where they used to be at, which is fine. I'm gonna do something different anyway. Maybe some pods mounted up here or something that's weatherproof. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I am going to trim that top piece down and try and get this where I can at least magnet it all together, because I'll have to trim this as well, or that one at least. We'll take off a couple inches on this side to make it 8.5, and we'll get it all set in. There'll be a couple filler panels I have to build in this area here, which I'm going to, I think, lay a flat piece in, weld it up, and then probably hole saw a circle in it and build a cup holder type deal to go in there. This one thing this 85 never had was cup holders, and it sucks. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get to trimming that first, and then I'll trim one of these other front pieces, and we'll get this thing all put together with magnets and maybe start tacking it together today. I'm not sure. Possibly. I decided to go black too in the middle piece from here up to there. Kind of sprayed some stuff on it to see how it looked. I think I like it. So we're going to do the silver, flat silver on the body, and then black through there, and then silver on top. I think I'm going to do like a heavy duty trunk type paint on top. This Duplicolor stuff maybe hold up a little bit better than regular paint, since I'm sure it's going to get covered in tree branches and scraped all to hail. So all right, off to cutting. I was using the plasma cutter and had a little blowout. When you use too thin a metal for straight edge, that's what happens. So I'm going to finish this one up with a small death wheel. Just got to do that cut. Then I'll test fit everything. I should be able to fix that with a weld pretty easy, or maybe put a tab there or something for bolting. I might end up putting a ridge all the way across this, maybe flip this over and weld it back on the top to give me a little mounting edge here. We shall see. All right, I got this piece trimmed down. I'm gonna use it to mark the other one so we get them exact. Luckily, just have to trim length on this one. I will be missing a flange on this one again too, but I'll just deal with it. I'll butt weld them. The stuff's thick enough. These are, again, like I said, from Motobuilt, and they're all pretty tough stuff, pretty thick. So it's add more weight to that iron pig, that's for sure. But as KC Custom says, let's cut some shit. So this is what we're going for here. We'll have to make a little filler piece across the top there. I put the factory trim piece back in, and it doesn't really cover it like I hoped it would. Maybe a little gap still in the bottom to fill in. We'll have to do that. And we gotta make a little piece here. Like I said, we got that cover comes down. We'll have to fill in right here. And the plate right here, and I'll put the cup holder in there like I said. I might oh, look at this. I might take this straight down. Maybe not though, because then I have to make a new one of those. So no, it stays. It stays. There's still room for a cup holder like right in here someplace for the drinkers. So yeah, that's what we're going for there. I'll need to cut the back piece still down, and we'll have to make a filler piece here as well. And then, yeah, cut this piece down, or whichever one it is, for that front piece. We're getting somewhere. I think it'll work just fine. I do have a kind of a boo-boo right there. I'll have to fill in a little bit. I got a little too zealous with the saw, I guess, when I was trimming everything out. But easy enough. I'll fill it in with some rod or something, and it's all get seam sealed anyway around everything. I don't want to make that little piece on top. It sucks. All right, that is what it is. We're going to start working on this back piece and the front piece and try and get those trimmed down to size before we tack everything together. So I guess if I make that little flat piece up on top all the way across, I can put a couple of those road nuts in there, like I said, and bolt that into place instead of welding everything. Do I have a need to take those out? Would make servicing the top of the shocks a lot easier if that all came apart. So maybe I make this all come apart, and I put a lip across the bottom too. A couple of rib nuts in there, a couple of rib nuts across the top. Then just caulk them shut so stuff doesn't come through. Huh. I don't have to think about all that. Thinking hurts. I, for the life of me, don't know why I can't hold on to a Sharpie longer than like 3 minutes. I swear I go through a box of them a week on here. There's something down here to eat them.
The brake pressure switch in the bottom of this thing. I always get weird. You can see the bubbles come out.
I found it.
Don't come out no more.
It was
Everybody's got a different way of doing it. I like to work
right there in my pocket,
half
where it should have been, like in my pocket. It's going to work better for me if this angle is actually broke the other way. Like I said, I don't have a brake. I should get one for my Swag Off Road, makes a nice one for my press, wherever the hell it's at right there. I should get that one of these days, but for now I'm just going to use a BFH on it and do a minor adjustment and see how that works, and then we'll go over from there and see how it works. Quiet, Dalton, I'm trying to work. Adjustments made, so good enough for now. We're going to test fit her and see how it does. She's fitting pretty good. Get everything squared out and get this filler piece made on both sides here with some CAD. And I might pull all this out right now actually and start welding it together, get it all tacked up so it has some rigidity to it and it'll hold itself in there. And then we'll build that back piece for it and go from there. Need one of them bolt bins that has everything in it. I could probably just run some little screws to these holes to hold it together for mock-up, but I don't have one of those. I don't. Nope, I don't have one. So I guess we'll have to tack it with that little hunk of doo-doo and see what we can make it look like.
All right, I dug around in my old bucket of shame over there and found some self-tappers. So I kind of screwed this together in a couple spots. I did have to tack weld it up here since I'm not using this in the same manner it's supposed to be built. So we're going to test fit this thing. I might have to straighten this edge out. It doesn't look very good to me. Looks a little wonky. But I think it's still going to work for us. Back over there. That is going to work out just fine. I got this cutoff piece here. Ow. I'll be able to cut to fit this section here in that back corner. And that'll be that. Man, I need a break. If I could break that right there, I could run that piece continuously over and back. Dang it. Oh well, I'm going to do that. Cut that piece. Screw it all together over here since it's got the holes and I've got self-tappers now. Probably tack it up here again like I did to the front. And then that side is pretty much fabbed out and ready to go except for the cardboard aided drafting I have to do in this general area to fill in. Which shouldn't be too difficult, I hope. The bottom of a Stanley would fit right there. And Stanley, I mean beer can. Just kidding, I don't even drink. So, yeah, we'll cardboard 8 draft that stuff. Cut it out with the death wheel. This will be fun to do with the death wheel, but I'll figure it out. Other than that, I think it's going to look pretty good. Might even put a couple like Malay panels across here to tie stuff down on. First aid kit. A couple other things. And then on to that side. I need summertime back. I want to have these on the car again. I think I'm going to put the new ones on. These aren't exactly terrible yet, but... Sidetrack brain fart. Because I'm over this. Over it. Over it. Over it. Over it. We go ice skating, but I'm too old and fragile, so... I'm still working on this Land Cruiser. I haven't filmed anything in quite some time. Just because I'm being picky and it's getting to be a pain in the ass because I keep cutting sections out. But I should have showed you guys this first. This presented as just that little bubble right there. Kind of like this looks right now. And when you grind that back, you can see how far that rust travels underneath the paint. It came all the way down around the corner here. And I'm sure this is probably going to keep going either side right here. Let me give it a second here. See if I can see how much further it goes. So what presented as pencil size, like eraser on a pencil, is actually that big. So we're talking 2.5 inches and a good 1.25 inches deep down the side of the door. That's why it's important if you see rust, follow it out and see what's going on there, because I'm not even sure by the time I get rid of this rust that it doesn't pinhole and go through. This one I'm not sure. So you see that, I'm going to go ahead and grind that off real quick too, then I'll show you guys. This one didn't present nearly as bad, but I mean you can see it just had a little thing on there and it's 1.25 inches long now of rust. Kind of the same deal, got some more right here, probably be the same. All the way across here, so all that is going to have to be ground until that rust is gone. Somewhat's lifted even. Hopefully I don't have to replace metal there because I don't really want to. I'm already cutting this door apart too much as it is. We've got rust down here I'm going to have to figure out. And then these were all little bubbles that also had to get ground out. I put a little rust converter on them right now so they didn't create any rust while the thing was sitting around. We've had a lot of crazy bad weather here. I wasn't able to make it down the hill to the shop for a while. I got some stuff to cut out here still. Gonna have to rebuild this section here. I don't like the way how thin that is. And then I have a patch for this whole bottom of the door, but I don't know if I want to get into that much of it or not. I'll probably fix this corner, cut out a little more here, rebuild this lip on the inside. rebuild this. You can see it's kind of thin. And then I have a patch panel that goes from here down. So I'll have to make this part, but it's cleaning up okay in there, it seems. Yeah, I just tore this door all the way down because I was going to do some taping on stuff like the handles and windows, but I'm taking it all apart because there's just too much going on with these doors. So yeah, a little more work on this thing for sure. And then we'll go back to finishing up the two rears. And then apparently when I bought that one, it looked like that door was pretty straight when I got it. But looking at it closer now that I got it in the cruiser, must have been a rolled over vehicle or something. It's kind of, the whole top is pushed out on it. So we're redoing that as well. Thinking about doing this, kind of a gray Raptor liner on the inside of the doors and the interior. This is all getting cut off, so I tested it there. I don't know, let me know what your thoughts are on that, if it's going to look decent or not, because it'll go all the way around the bottom, all the trim pieces. And then probably inside on the fenders, back of the tailgate, which I got a lot of work to do on. And, floorboard and all that stuff. And then I'll put the factory carpet back down in, which is a grayish color as well. Bluish grayish color. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. I guess we'll get back on that door and I'll make some more progress. I'll show you guys. So this door had a skim coat on it. I decided to start taking it down, and I'm finding all kinds of rust underneath that skim coat. That wasn't showing. I had a couple spots here, all the way across here where it would have bubbled and been bad, and I mean, who knows how long. You'll probably see it here too, along here anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and probably take this whole door back down the metal, I guess. See what else I run into. Hit this real quick, see if it shows you guys anything. Right there's some rust.
This is awesome that
That would have been popping out soon. So that is most likely from them running a coat of Bondo or skim coat, whatever you want to call it, a filler, directly on another spot there, I forgot. Directly on bare metal without sealing it first. So that's what makes me think I'm probably going to have to come all the way up to this body line, I'm guessing. All the way across from when this thing was fixed up and repaired. However long ago, 20 years ago. Right there too. Well, I took this thing apart. I actually ran a grinder along this bottom lip here. And what did I do with that piece? Oh. Separated the bottom lip to where it folds over, and you can see it is just rust. And rust and rust. I made a piece for over here. I'll have to hand form it a little bit more to patch that in on that corner. So then I'll have to cut a patch panel out of that or something else that will run along the edge here. It'll kind of look like this. It'll come down from right here. Too close. Right here. And I'll probably run it along this body line on the bottom. That way it's less conspicuous. The patch panel goes all the way up to here. But that's a pretty prominent body line. And this will be hidden pretty good along the bottom and angles under and won't be seen nearly as much. So that's probably what I think I'm going to do over here. I'll finish cleaning this up and wire brush it. See how much of this rust I can get out of there. Hopefully it doesn't just disappear that flange. Because if that's the case, then I'm rebuilding this whole flange all the way down as well. Because I can't find this door anywhere that doesn't have as many rust problems as this one does. Choose your projects wisely, kids. like not that, but instead do something like a GMA body where there's plenty of support. Makes it much easier. All right, back to grinding. Was just cleaning this up some more for the cut. This is where the body line is going to be at for that new patch, but actually ran into rust all the way up into here. You can see this spot there still I got a treat. You can also see there's some work that was done back here. A little bumpy. That's why this door has a coat on it. That might be an old patch line right there. Could be an old weld. Have to look at it a little closer. I may end up taking this all the way up to here, paint-wise, just to make sure we don't have anything else, because I'm getting a little sketched out by it. Yeah, I think that's a patch. Crap. Back to it. Rust. In a mess of the garage again. I cut that panel down. Very poorly welded together. I'll grind all that down. Now I got to make this piece here. Gonna have to do some pulling around on this panel to get back where it needs to be at. So I got to custom make this piece here. I haven't decided if I'm just going to hammer form it for that lip, or if I'm going to try and run it through the bead roller back there. It's buried in the corner. So probably just hand form it, which means this, laying on that 2x4 over there and beating on with a hammer should be close enough. What could go wrong? Just a real simple hit here. Work it over slowly, double check it multiple times. A little bit more. It's not going to be rocket science, so. Close is what we're looking for. Need to actually flatten out this edge some, make it a little bit more of a sharper corner than what it is. For that, you just move the hammer up to the corner better. Way more aggressive than it looked for the angle there. This is going to be a little long, so I'll have to trim some of this off to make it fit, but it's the easy way of doing it for sure. Almost got it. Measure 6 times, hit it with a hammer, 35. Very aggressive compared to what I thought it was going to be. Alright, so now we got to figure out the next bend. On this one, I think I'm going to just hand form it. So I'm probably going to tack this into place, which seems ridiculous since I got to take it back out. But I'll tack it into place, and then I'll hand form this down around that door, and then we'll pull back off and cut it for the width that we need to make it fit. This is all a weld through primer. When I get done doing all this, I'll also spray the inside of this door with cavity wax and clean it all up. The whole inside of it's been sprayed with weld through primer. So yeah, I think I'm going to hit that right there and start pushing that down over that edge. I'll try to film that too. So I tacked that in place there, and now I'm just going to kind of give her some work like this. And then take the hammer to it. And then I'll define that edge. When I get it off there, I'll go break that edge down a little bit better on the old Eastwood 2x4 over there. I need like a stump or something, or a sandbag, something like that. But this gets it done. I'll work this edge a little bit. It's on the door. I'll work this one a little bit. And then we'll put her over there and get her all shit, like up to par. And then we'll shave it down with the gold cutter right there. These are really cheap on Amazon and well worth having. Makes it so easy to trim up panels. I don't even remember what brand it is. I'm sure it's some Chinesium stuff. I got it for my birthday. And it's awesome for trimming panel stuff. See all the little shards. You can really get thin with it. It's worth it. All right, so I got it going pretty good. Just pop her right off there now. And I'll go back to the 2x4. Try and get that worked in a little bit sharper to match this right here. Should be good to go. My door panel's sinking in there pretty good. I'm going to pull that up when I weld it. It's trying to pull down in there to make sure we wash that. Otherwise, I'll wind up with a bunch of filler right here. It's going to kind of look like hammered dog shit when you hand form something that much. You put that many dents in it, but it's going to need a lot to work over anyway. And I'll get the hammer in on it once again. So we're going to pull this over, mark out what we're doing to trim it. I think it fits pretty decent though. By the time we put it down in there. It ain't perfect, but this whole rig ain't perfect, so I think it should work pretty good for us. Just got to get her trimmed down to fit perfectly, and the fun part will be by the time I get it welded in and have to hammer this edge over for the fold. That's going to be the tough part. I do have a fancy little tool for folding these over. Like that right there. Instead of using a hammer, they make a tool that does it. I've never had mine out of the box. Door skidding tool. You just fold that edge over, it does a real nice job on it. But with that one being on a curve like that, it's not going to want to do it very well. So we'll use that on the bottom, and I'll probably hand form this one the rest of the way. And then she's going to take some work to get we're not going to do perfect here, but it's going to take a little work to get it where we want it. Like I said, I got to pull all this up still. It's going to be pretty far off. I had a screwdriver over here someplace. That's going to take a bit to pull up. Especially right in here, it's going to come up pretty good. Oh, there we go. So when I lay that piece over it, I'll kind of zip cut that to make them fit right. Weld it in and force everything to go the way I want it. And then grind all this down and put some epoxy primer on it. And start with a glaze on it to clean her up. Fun. And then we get to do all the dusty, no fun shit. So, yay. Alright, so I got that all tacked in there now. You can see how much that panel has sunken down in there. This is laid pretty much against the door. Close as it's going to get anyway. So that is, yeah, I had to lift that panel up with the screwdriver when we weld these two together. And yeah, it's done until I start having to hammer the edge over, which is going to look like hammered dog doo-doo by the time I'm done with it, but I only do so much. So this is my hand formed edge. It doesn't look bad. A little more hammer work though, and I'd be able to clean that up, straighten it out a little bit. I'm going to try out this tool here to do a little bit more finish work on it. See how that actually works. Hey, look at that. You got to hook it up first. Let's try that first. Then we'll see how. Can't get it on there far enough. I guess I need to fold that edge over more. All right. Too loud. I guess I need to hand form that edge over a little bit closer before that thing will fit on there, and then I'll try it again. So it did clean it up a little bit better, but in doing so, did that. Kind of caved this in a little bit here, which means more filler. Not a big deal, but I would like to try to pry this up some. Get some of that out of there. Man, this is all a little high through here, so I'll probably work that down a little bit first and then see about pulling this up. Yeah. Damn it. Some more work. I made a mess. Got tired of the body stuff laying everywhere though. Shut up, Alex! Yeah, I made a mess, but I couldn't stand the other mess I had going with all the bodywork stuff, so I got myself a little cart, just a hobo freight one. Got all my spreaders, sandpapers, body tools, grinder things, all the big flap disc, strip disc. Yeah, turned out pretty good. That one don't want to come open. All right. So anyway, that one's got the power tools in it. There we go. A couple other things. And then propane down the bottom. Air sander. Fits perfectly right there. Like it was meant to be. So yeah. Now to clean up this junk. Then we'll get back on this. I actually sanded it, or ground a bunch of the welds down, and I'll go through and fill in all the holes now. I did spray a little more blow-through primer. I'm sure the other stuff got blown out of there, welding all this, so there'll be a little bit of primer in there on the backside. I'll do this. I actually got to lift a chunk out of here. That stupid friggin' roller put a huge dent in there because I put it on backwards and just destroyed that area. So probably weld like a screwdriver or something to it here and lift it, get it closer so there isn't much filler in there. Or since it's just an old off-road vehicle, maybe I'll just put filler on it. I don't know, maybe. Yeah. Been messing with the 3D scanner too to try and scan this section of the body. I think I want to make some armor for there, like I talked about earlier. But that scanner isn't up for the job for sure. That thing will drain some battery. My laptop battery lasted like 15 minutes, I think. It was crazy. So anyway, that's what we're doing right now. Cleaning up messes. So I got the 3D scanning dots in. That made a big difference on the scanner. It looks pretty good. There's a couple things I would like to get a little better. Would be this area. I got some interference there or something. I might throw a bunch more dots around the edges of that just to try and clear it up a little bit. Maybe one more try. But other than that, I think I could probably make that piece of armor off of that if I want to. Export it into CAD and get a good nice cut on something here for this piece, this whole section here basically across is what I'm trying to make that piece of armor for. Because whatever I make on this side, I should be able to mirror from this to the other side over there as well. And yeah, it really shows the amount of body work I got left to do on this thing too. Like right there, that was a patch I put in that was very, very, very sloppily done, and you can tell it shows it for sure. But that's something I'll just smooth out and get hammered back into place and put that piece of armor over it. Make sure our door lines up good. Should be good to go. Now I know this looks a little archaic, but I just got done doing it here. I got that low spot where it dipped in. It's still going on there, so you just take something like this, tack it on there. You gotta grind it all down anyway. Do your piece backs with the hammer. A little bit more. It's always easy to put it back in there too, so You can't really tell there, but it is just about right. And you just top her off of there and grind it down. Good as gold.
It's banging up my car.
Touch his horn, Michelle.
Hi, pretty. Oh my god. Take a picture, please. Hi, dude. Don't smash up my car, okay?